Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is Guilty, the second in the series. This one by Houston 2015. This is Monaco 1955, a 14 plus game as opposed to 16 plus. A race against crime, the high octane detective game. If you are watching this as a short, make sure you watch the full video over on YouTube. Like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. This is a game all about being a detective. It's set obviously 60 plus years ago, and what we're looking to do is figure out what on earth's been going on because well, various things have happened. I won't spoil it, but we will be looking to go through various amounts of time cards. So it's starting from 9 AM, unlike the other game where it's digital. Of course, it's sort of digital in some respects. You can see a value going on here. I say digital because obviously you can see numerals. And we're going to spend some time trying to figure out what has been going on. Now, unlike the original one, you can also use memo cards. So basically, you can line up cards to say whether or not a certain character is going somewhere else. You'll be using your motorcycle to go around the 1 square kilometre area of Monaco on your motorcycle. And there are other things you can do too. So as I mentioned, there are going to be a location on the right-hand side. There is going to be a person you can interact with the left-hand side. And if the two coloured paper clips make a number over here between 1 and 99, then you are able to flip other stuff over too. So initially what we're going to do is we are going to have some locations we can start off at. So you have your motorcycle, you have got Port Hercules, which you can go over here, etc. Various locations, and we can visit these locations. Now, of course, hospital goes somewhere else. But the point is, each time you are going to be going to a location, it'll normally tell you to flip over a time card, and the time is going to go forward. So initially it's saying, hey, welcome to the radio, Radio Monte Carlo, etc. And if you see this symbol, it means you are going to flip it automatically, and it's going to tell you to do something else. You can see early on, there's nothing specifically going on. Obviously, this game is published by IELLO. But what's going to keep on occurring is you've got a very thematic story going on, very thematic, empowering information going on relating to this kind of backstory and sort of hints. You could say they're hints, maybe there are red herrings there, but it's like, oh, you could go to this location or something's happened at this location. All the meanwhile, it is Le Mans and there has been a real world event happening. This is set in the real world. There's really cool events that do occur in this game, and I do like the way they have combined it compared to maybe Guilty Houston 2015. Also, apart from real events, it's nice again to see this nice watch face. It's a bit more interesting than on the original one, whereby you've got this one over here with like time clocks going on as well. In terms of things which did frustrate me a little bit, it's there's no hint. Like I said, these cards might tell you something, but sometimes you can get stuck and you're not sure where to go. You're not sure necessarily how to align some cards. And whilst the game isn't necessarily a race, it does say it takes 3 to 4 hours, and it did take me 4 hours 20. So similar to the other game as well. Now there is one thing about sliding cards, which means you need to go this way, not necessarily this way. So you might get a bit stuck if you do something incorrectly too. This does take quite a bit of space. I managed to play this on a baize kind of poker table, which is about, I think about 70 centimeters by 70 centimeters. I played Guilty Houston on there too, and it took a little bit less space, thankfully. I tended to, partially because you do have your trunk, and you meant to put cards in here if you see a motorcycle symbol, but what I tend to do is slide them in here, so it's a bit easier to, to see what I'm reading, which is quite handy, which they maybe could have put on there, but they didn't. Apart from that, again, at the end of the game, there's going to be some stars which you'll get awarded or not awarded, depending on how well you do. There are fewer win or loss kind of scenarios compared to the original game, and I didn't do as well in this particular one. It was pretty much, did you get this or did you get this? So unfortunately, that's a bit of a shame. Like other detective games, sometimes there's a bit of a leap of faith as to how you can get to some conclusions, and whilst you can just go off the evidence, I was disappointed by some scenarios in this game whereby it said at the end of the game, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, there's nothing to indicate that that person was going to be like that. There's nothing hinting. Now, some people might say, yeah, but if you hint, it's kind of giving it away. But there was nothing at all other than us assuming that, I don't know, if someone's got money, they're going to steal it, which sounds a bit, I think that disappointed me. In terms of my rating, now I know over in France, this one is slightly high rated. I mean, it is set in France too. I would give it ever so slightly higher, like maybe a 7.9 over 7.8. I love the interaction with these cards, how you're talking to each other, and that's really cool. Generally speaking, it might only be once occurring. There's lots of really cool stuff going on, but there is a lot of stuff in here that you think, oh, it's going to tell us why this is there, or you see some really cool clues, and like to the radio messages or whatever, and none of it transpires at the end. So I think it's a bit disappointing how there's not really a payoff as well, which I found disappointing. Also around some of the characters, it doesn't necessarily come to a conclusion about certain people. And also when you flip this over, when you get onto the kind of the examination of the game to see how well you do, it's not as clear. There's, for example, there's A, C, but there's actually a B and a D, which they don't even say B or D. There's only kind of one type of typo where the word there is spelled T-H-E-I-R rather than T-H-I-R or something like that. I think they spelled it wrong, but it's not major. The card thickness though is nice. It works well. Obviously, nice pictures. And it's a nicely recommended game. Like I said, you really only can play it once, unlike on other games. I can't see this being played at a separate time. And you do pretty much go through all the cards, even though it says not everything will be revealed by the time running out. But you are pretty much close to doing so. But that has been Guilty. That's the second one. I am looking forward, though, very much to playing the third one. So that shows you how interesting I'm finding this game. But as always, any questions, comments, etc., let me know via the comments are best on YouTube. This does get shared. Please do share as well. And also head through to the description where you can support the channel by Patreon. Photos will be over on Instagram. And you'll also find some other stuff too via TikTok, Eggs, Threads, etc. So this has been Guilty. More videos available. This is going to the How to Set Up, Play and Review playlist, the AmassGames playlist, Board Game Review playlist, and I think if I haven't already, it'll be in the Yellow playlist too. This is also going in that solo playlist, because I did play the solo. You'll also find it in the cooperative playlist. And a bit like the original as well, it doesn't stay too flat this. So this does bounce around a bit when you put cards on it, which, as you can see, it's a bit annoying. I think they could have maybe not had them as a folded piece going on there too. But no, very enjoyable game to play. It's a good, enjoyable experience, and I recommend you check it out. That has been Guilty, Monaco, 1955. Enjoy the game, back to the table.